in Colombia. He's from Colombia. So basically, after these two sessions, as Juanma said, there have been many ideas. And the main conclusion is that Mario is now using some of these ideas, and he's able now. He told me that I was chatting with him before this call. He's getting sales again, even if the stores are closed. So that means that yes, a few of them are the ones that he's working on, and the results are there. So we are providing value. So thanks everybody who was involved in this initiative, because he's selling again. And as Juanma said, you are invited everybody for the next session that is looking on the future, long term, and to find out once this COVID situation is over, how position his business to be sure that he will be able to face future situations like these ones, based on some scenarios that can happen in the future. So
wow,
it's working.
How is he selling, Ricardo? What's the tactic he's using? Or
he's using, as he's not able to use the stores, he's using some of the ideas about doing the using different channels like the WhatsApp, and he's trying new channels as well, and he's doing the delivery by bicycle, complemented with some of the ideas that were provided to him. So to use the Canvas model that Juanma's group is using on Wednesday gives a very good overview for entrepreneurs and business CEOs in order to have a good view of all the areas. And based on that work and all the ideas provided, he has been working on the different areas of the Canvas model, and he's implementing the first ones with very good results. So I'll keep you updated on the progress, on how the sales are going.
Thank you, Ricardo. Wow.
You have all the documents, the presentations, and the recordings on Teams. So if you want to check something, all the documents are there. And if you want to be part of this, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Brussels time, you are invited to join.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Juanma. Thank you, the team. So we can be a bit proud that we helped a small company in Colombia. That's already a small achievement, not big, but that's why we are here. And we'll take, again, a reminder, if you know any entrepreneur that is struggling with their business, we have here now 48 brains that can work together to help and connect, or ideas, or brainstorm, and go through a thorough process. We have the group brainstorming, then Juanma and Terry and the team of New Business Model, they will take it to phase 1 and phase 2. So I think that's good. And I think that's where we can connect some of the other work streams, because we're talking about communication, education. So I'll see, maybe there's something that we can see today happening, and everything gets packaged into a nice support for businesses and organizations. Thank you very much. Let me go now to the first group. I will share the screen quickly with with the list of working groups. So we have Lily Pink update. Briefly, next Thursday we have somebody I really admire, because it's a topic that fascinates me and I have no clue how it works. It's the brain and the neuroscience. So we've all read Think Fast and Slow, and how you can adjust your brain and manipulate it, and persuasion. But this guy Kumar has founded one of the leading institutes in India. They have several centers, and they can really assess your brain somehow very quickly. I don't know the details. I met him in the Peter Drucker Forum last year, and I found his topic very nice, very interesting for personal development as well. So he accepted to join us next Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Europe time. So we have already Ben Laker, he's coming the week after, journalist and professor in leadership, BBC and so on. We have Alex Osterveld, one of the big stars in the world of thinking and business model generation, is coming. I have Tasha Uldrich coming also. Well, there's talks until the summer, so we will not get bored. And then here is the different working groups. So for the new ones, we're working on all these areas, what you see in blue. The other ones we parked because we saw this is not the right time, or we don't have now the capacity to do it. But what you see in blue is team been working. So I saw Emma is on the call. Just a general update, if you can, Emma, on has there been any progress? Where has been the progress? Do you need any help? Do you think we need to continue or park it for the moment or connect it to other? So Emma, if you can hear me.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Hi Emma, it's so good to have you on the call.
You too, thanks for having me. So we've made some progress this week. To give a bit of an overview to the guys who are brand new, the idea of the know-how and education stream is to kind of curate as much information as we can to support people using the technology. We all know that we're all inundated with different forms of technology. Lots of people out there don't know how to kind of sift through that chaos, how to stay safe from a cybersecurity perspective. So we're really kind of pulling different bits of information. And originally we had a really grand idea with like 7 different sub work streams, you know, focused on very specific areas. As it happened, we didn't get that many volunteers who were able and had the time to lead those initiatives. So we've kind of started off with 2, and we've parked some of the other ones for now. The 2 that we have started with are the one that Claude is leading. She's also on this call, which is about bringing technology to people who might be unfamiliar and unable to do that for themselves. So if you imagine, we have a lot of elderly people in care homes who don't have access to technology and therefore to stay in contact with their friends and family. So that's going to be one of the targeted areas of that we're going to focus on, whether that be through partnerships with care homes, you know, where most people who work there have a phone or an iPad that we could potentially use through an appointment system or something like that to get these people connected to their families, so that we're starting to remove that element that is happening a lot at the moment around loneliness for people who feel very disconnected from their loved ones. The second stream that we're going to be focusing on is one around technology support and development and education. So like I've just said, curating lots of help training, how to stay safe online, how to use Microsoft Teams, how to use Zoom well, how to, you know, use GoToMeeting and everything else that's out there, so that when people get faced with this meeting is in a technology I know nothing about, they've got somewhere to go that's going to give them lots of different types of information, from how-to guides through to how to make sure your security settings are correct, through to how to share things with people using this technology. One of the key issues that we found is that we've got nowhere to put this stuff. We don't have a website that people can kind of publicly go to where we can put a load of articles and stuff like that. So the strategy that we're using at the moment, myself and Graham Morgan, I'm not sure if he's on the call today, have done is we're actually curating as much information as we can into a LinkedIn article. It's currently in draft. I'm hoping to publish something by the end of this week, so that we can keep going in, we can keep updating it, and it's actually available to everybody that uses LinkedIn. So regardless of, you know, what group you're in or out of in LinkedIn, because some groups are obviously private and some aren't, this will just be an article that we can all share periodically as we update it with information. So those are kind of the first 2. Other ideas which are parked at the moment is around getting our businesses ready to go back to work and how they sift through the myriad of systems that people have been downloaded over the last couple of months, and I'm sure will continue to download. So trying to really think about transformation for organizations. They've all had to go digitally. It's been forced. So we need to give them some kind of transformation strategy to find some light through the chaos of technology that's out there. Other things is kind of engaging young people to support them being safe online with the amount of technology that's out there. So those are some of the other streams. My next activity, if you like, so we now have we have a PowerPoint where we can report on how we're doing and breaking down these work streams into scope and the risks and the people that we're going to need. Now we're going to need volunteers next week or the week to get that. I'm going to, Antonio, like you said, invite every single person that we have, give them an overview of where we are, what we're trying to achieve, and see if we can find people to support these work streams, because at the moment it is largely just a few of us, and you know, we all have jobs and lives. So the next step is to get some more volunteers to really help with this, to curate this information. We're all exposed to stuff all the time, so I'm sure if we see something, oh, that's an interesting article, we can just pop that onto that article, that platform, so that we can continue to grow from an education perspective. I've certainly found over the last few weeks there's been like 10 different emails from Zoom alone saying we've updated this is how you do this now, this has changed. So we really need as many volunteers as possible to update this. And then from a knowledge and kind of education is then after that is kind of tying into all the other work streams. There's going to be lots of knowledge and lessons that all the streams are bringing together, and I think we have a responsibility as the know-how and education stream to pull that together, so that when we're trying to stand up another mentoring for entrepreneurs or business or a help area, that we're learning from everything else that's happening. And that's kind of where we are. So hopefully everybody will be able to join next week, and then we can find some more people to kind of help drive this forward.
Thank you, Emma. This is great update. I think you are a small team, but you've really managed to move forward. I was doubting, but you see the power of wanting to do something, and especially in the area where you're talking, I really find it admirable what you, 2-3 people, Chloe, I know the small team, but you've been pushing, so I'm so
small
happy.
But mighty, Antonio, small but mighty.
Exactly. And I love the idea of the linking post, because we can push it. We know now how linking works. So if you tag people comment on that, and you continue the discussion, linking brings these articles higher up. So if we learn how to do that, we do that in the Marshall Goldsmith group, and we've learned how to get thousands of views, 10,000s of views. So I think it's a great move, a low cost, but we can make some impact.
Yeah, it's just, as with all these things, it's just time for everybody.
Time. Yeah.
But once it's out there, and that's the beauty of it. Once it's out there on LinkedIn, you know, we've all got many contacts, so at least people see that, oh, there's something there that might help me. And if it triggers, you know, a memory in 3 months' time where they're asked to use something new, and they're like, oh, I saw that and I saved it, so I can go back to it. So hopefully it's just a good strategy for the time being.
I like it. Thank you, Emma. Thank you to the group.
I have a suggestion.
Mark.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, of course.
I just realized the other day that there was something I needed to do. I didn't know how to do. I got somebody to write a technical note, just step by step down. If those would be very useful to pass around.
Yeah, and that's what we're finding. So originally that we were going to write them ourselves, and then I realized that actually lots of people are doing this for us already. So a lot of it is around curating the right technical know-how documents, so that, you know, it is a step-by-step guide to doing X, Y, and Z. So if anybody has anything that they think is useful, I know Gregorio has been in touch already, that his team have written a load of stuff around Teams, Microsoft Teams, then, you know, get it over, we can get it out. As long as we can put it on, you know, it's linked to a website somewhere, we can link to it, or we can add it as a document. So absolutely, we were worried that we weren't going to have time to write everything, but actually the reality is probably anything we would be writing is already out there. It's just finding the right content for people.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, the team. Well done. Let's move to the next group with Jovita. Diana, I didn't see her yet on the call. Can give us an update on what you're doing. Please just take 3 minutes or so if you can, with a bit of background. Thank you, Jovita.
Okay. Thank you, Antonio. So for the people that are new on the group, we are the work group number 6, Creative Collisions. What we currently are focusing on is preload containers to be used as a facilitation of community-based drive-through testing centers. And right now, what we have seen is that we have actually progressed on the project, not only to test, but to suppress and to control through possible vaccinations that are going to be made available, hopefully soon. We have made a lot of progress in the last 2 weeks. So we currently have a presentation that's ready to go out to external stakeholders that either will need what we are developing or that want to partner. So it's the end user and obviously the suppliers that we are going to contact. So we basically just finalizing that. We are further just also tying in the definitions, the scope, so just rounding off everything that we've been working on. And that is really in a nutshell and very quickly where we are at. But we've got a fantastic group of people working on this, and I can basically say from Argentina right to Lebanon and every country in between. And people that would like, that are new to the group, that would like just to contact us to find out more, we're happy. We've got a presentation for internal stakeholders, which is basically this group to give just a more detailed idea of what we're trying to achieve. Graham Morgan, that's also on our group, he will talk a little bit about the stakeholders, because now we are looking for stakeholders in the different countries that all of us are in that might either need what we're developing or that would like to partner in terms of suppliers. So I'll pass it on to Graham, and Graham can perhaps just have a chat to us about that. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks, Jovita. Not sure how many people on the group here today have been in and seen the presentation that Diana's done in the past, but basically the name that we've got attached to this project right now is called the PLC. The group again is Creative Collision. You can find us on the Microsoft Teams website, and what the gist of this product is going to be is a, excuse me, it's a mobile delivery unit to do medical testing, so it could be used in the event of testing for things like a virus like the COVID-19, or it may have adaptability in the future throughout the world and global impact in terms of doing medical support, research and testing throughout the globe. So we're trying to put this project together, and we are getting traction. The team's doing very well. We're into the design specs. We've got a number of different things that we're looking at. We're developing a WBS. We're developing risk management around it. We're also working on branding. And at this point, we've got enough of an idea and project together that we are looking for stakeholder feedback to move it outside of just the arena that we're in terms of the group here. So I put together a document. Basically, Creative Collision is looking for assistance in gathering feedback on our PLC project. There are areas of the project where consultation is required from external stakeholders who are currently being identified. So from this group as a whole, the World in Crisis group, what we'd like to know is, do you know of potential stakeholders in this project? So the current focus areas are the design and the use. Feedback from stakeholders would include staff who may be using the PLC in deployment, so that could be healthcare staff, or it could be support personnel who would be actually on site with the unit. We're also looking for feedback from stakeholders like management who may coordinate things like storing, shipping, or deployment of the PLC. For utilization and investment, we also need feedback from stakeholders, and that could include organizations who would be interested in using the product. Also business partners who may be interested in funding or helping out and partnering with stakeholders who would use it. And we are looking for strategic alliances in partnership. So those suggested stakeholders in the categories would come from areas that we see as being healthcare, government, private business, publicly funded nonprofits, or a range of other entities. I'll leave that in your mind. You may have connections and know of areas and groups that could use this. If you do feel you have an idea or connection that could add value or some insight, please reach out and try to gather what their thoughts are on the project. Input from all participants and geographies in our group are encouraged. The more information we have going forward, the greater chance this project moves from our group into a valuable entity for future use throughout the globe. If you do have input that you would like to do, we would request that you would contact us through the Microsoft Teams site. Again, we are group number 6, Creative Collision. Jovita and Diana are the key project team leads on this. We do have a lot of conversation going in there, and in the files category, you're going to find our presentations on exactly what the product is, how it is developing, and you'll also see documentation on there about what I'm talking about in terms of going forward with stakeholders. We're still in flux in terms of our branding and our naming of it. We're still in flux of defining our internal stakeholder roles within the project. We would request that if you do want to have contact with us to avoid communication confusion, please direct it through either Jovita or Diana, as we have several internal discussions that are going on, and we don't want to become confused about the entire development of the project. So I hope that gives you a good idea of where we're at with this project. And moving forward, we'd like to get input from anybody who can add value or can help move it along to fruition and become a valuable key for what we see as being what could be a very critical and functional piece of equipment for the world moving forward. I'll pass it back to you, Antonio. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Jovita. Thank you, Diana. I see you just joined. I have to say, this is one of the projects which I had never expected coming from this working group, to create a container to help governments with the testing. And so if this goes through, I think we will be very, very proud. And like they say, they're very active, moving, working. So please join their Teams channel and you will be involved. So I think every topic we're talking is very interesting, from EMA education through these containers. And let me move now to the coaching. Thank you. Oleg, 3 minutes. Give us an update. How are you in the coaching group?
Hello, everyone. It seems to me that we're going quite well. First of all, we got a very nice open session about a week ago, and it was 12 of us, and thank you everyone to Diana, Arantxa, Patrick, Victor, fantastic discussion. So more or less where we are moving. We indicated between us, but it's still under discussion, what initial industries and corporates or governments we about to approach with our program, which would consist of 3, or so say we've been advised to offer some kind of a shopping list, which would be a visionary leadership, culture leadership, and viewing organizations from in terms of performance is more or less of a business coaching, right? With all being well, we expect to have the full offer ready within about 10 days, as Arantxa and me would be quite busy over the next week, but the week after we will be ready to send it out with all the questionnaires to potential, call it, clients. And we would we'll encourage everyone who knows in our team now, who knows such companies or governments who are interested in such free sessions, coaching sessions, to send us messages. We will try to help as many as we can people. So in a best scenario, we think, or in a good scenario, we think from the mid of June, we will be able to act in a full swing. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg. Thank you to the team. I saw the picking up of momentum on the team of coaching. I think the challenge there is how to be different, because there are many coaching groups and associations providing services for free at this stage. So I'm curious to see how we can find an edge, but I'm sure we'll do.
Sure. We already know the secret.
Thank you, Oleg. So what I'm going to do when I send a general update, I will give a bit more background on each of the projects and where you can connect, so that you will be able to join them or find more or so on, so that we can have reconnection on that part. Group number 4 is the, well, in the list is number 5 is the new business models. Juanma, Terry, you've been working already on Lily Pink. Is there anything you want to add?
Yes, one thing. After listening to Oleg and knowing what are our limitations as new business models, why don't you pick our companies? I mean, we reach to a point where we say what to do, but we don't say how. We don't give them any kind of idea on how to go forward. Just help them analyze the situation. So if you feel like it's something like having a synergy between, well, among the groups, because I think the know-how group is also has a potential to intervene, because we are just saying you are here, you can be there in a short term, and then you can be there in the long term. But it's not our task to go with them. We are just having a picture and giving them 3 different pictures. So I think you are the ones that can help them to navigate from picture to picture. That's just a suggestion.
And very good suggestion there. That the group is very thorough on the business model. They have good framework, and it does bring quite some value to everyone.
And that's our knowledge. I mean, if there is a different knowledge in a different group, let's take advantage of our specific knowledge. Yeah. So I'm sure that we can deal with business models, with strategies, no problem. But I'm completely sure that Oleg can do coaching much better than I can, because he's an expert, but I'm not an expert in coaching. So I won't offer coaching.
I completely agree. Juanma, I was just chatting with Oleg, proposing this as well for Mario, for the Lily Pink case, for example.
Yeah.
So it's something on top of to this, offer.
On top of, yeah, something to offer on top of this.
So it's something that makes sense from a flow. Yeah. Meaning we are in the first stage, then we stop, but then you can continue, and it's good for it's a whole product for the business that is helped.
Good point, Arantxa, Juanma. Yes, we can offer coaching to Mario straight away once you've gone through that. Good point, and we can help them with the maybe communication. Okay, thank you, Arantxa. You're having a nice walk, huh? We see.
Yes, it's the time now. If not, I couldn't do it in the morning, so I'm doing now.
Okay, so thank you for the team, Terry. I think you're doing great, and we can see already some clear impact. We have next, the group is about culture and communication. Communication more in the global sense, diversity, and not just the standard communication. We have Michele just joining to give us an update. Paula cannot be here today, so Michele, thank you. You're coordinating that group.
Yeah, hi everybody, how are you? We co-chair, Paula and myself, we help one another a little bit in this group. So very briefly, for the new arrived, communication for different cultures is group number 5 in the Teams software. The idea is that we talk about cultures, but not culture as nationalities or ethnicities. We don't generalize too much. We want to go a little bit more in depth. And the idea is that culture is more like the cultural lens that we have as individual, we have as organization or companies, and more a mindset through which we look at things and we communicate. We had a couple of meetings, and the idea that we are finalizing to share with maybe a brief PowerPoint presentation to all the group is that basically we think our group as a kind of support for all the members of this general group, first of all, and a support for the other subgroups. Anytime they need to deal with something related with communication. Among us, we have expert in communication, we have expert in intercultural communication, so we can really help every time a group needs to communicate something about a project, or to create a campaign, or to release some kind of communication or document. One idea that we were discussing was also to try to understand how to help Emma idea, LinkedIn, or maybe create a kind of website in which we can collect all the results and the suggestions that we are going to provide and to create with this international group. This maybe is not an urgency, but it's something that we can start working on, for example, using Wix or other sources that are relatively easy to use. Another idea is that we will, in the next few days, we will communicate with the chairperson of each other subgroups in order to collect potential, let's say, topics or requests that we can start working on in order to provide this support already for practical things. And we are also going, we already have some resources about that, but we are going to list a kind of archive of good resources or sources of information when it comes to talk about COVID-19. The idea is that we are covering several countries thanks to Antonio's initiative. So the idea is to, for at least each of the countries that we are covering, and then maybe the others, find 2, 3 good references, good resources for good information at the local and the national level, in case someone of us needs good information, and also tools to determine if, for example, a news is a fake or a news is a good news. So we are also disseminating resources about webinars that teach you these kind of things, and to tackle this kind of problematics, I guess, and of course combating misinformation, and that is a little bit what we are working on.
Thank you, Michele. Also very interesting. Would be interesting to know how we can tie some of the work that you're doing to help, for example, the case of Mario and Lily, or these entrepreneurs. We can see the link to coaching. Is there something we can help? Both was chatting with Emma on the education or the knowledge, but also on the communication, on the culture. I don't know, just putting the question to think about with the group.
Yeah, I was thinking while they were presenting. Of course, I see a lot of connections with the coaching, with the education. Yeah, definitely. So maybe we will start a series of conversations through teams, through subgroups. Okay,
thank you, Michele. Thank you to the team on communication and culture. If you can just have a look as well on the chat, there is a lot of good exchange on articles and ideas. I will download that so that we can share that. But while you're listening, have a look on the chat. There are very good comments. And I just see Jovita, the team of Creative Coalition, they're going to have a meeting right after this one, right?
Correct, yes. So if there's anybody that's on the call, or somebody new that has joined and would just like to join us to just get more information on what we are currently working and even inputs, please feel free to join us on the Teams chat right after this meeting. Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you. Thank you. So our next group is the project management. This one, I think we didn't progress that much. What we see is the same as what just discussed. we will provide tools. I think we'll need to see which ones, but to the people who are being advised through the new business model. I think that's where we can bring some value. So phase 2 and then implementation is some of these ideas take place. We will offer some coaching and support on terms of PMO or project management. I think that connection, we will add it to the new framework that we want to develop, covering all the skills that we just mentioned. That's what I want to share on the project management. I don't know if there's Fernando, I don't see him on the call, but that's the idea we're working on, is supporting really the entrepreneurs or the person that we talk to, also the different groups that you are working on. If you need any help on that, we can help, although we are all experts in project management. So I think that's already one of our skills.
So regarding project management, this is Ricardo.
Ricardo,
so
yeah.
I created 2 different forms because, as Antonio is saying, we have a lot of people here have a project management background. So we have many skills and capabilities we can use to provide services to the other working groups. So I created 2 forms. One is just for collecting the needs from the different working groups in order to try to create a service PMO catalog. And another form is just for getting your inputs in order to know who wants to be a volunteer and offer the project management services. So once I have the inputs, my idea is together with Rafael, that is a new joiner in the group, to create a PMO service-based catalog using some tools like Trello or Planner, where we can try to have a virtual PMO in the first phase for offering services to different groups, and in a second phase maybe for offering service to external companies or whatever we can help.
Thank you, Ricardo. So this is to be found in the team site as well, all this material, and we'll start to apply it as soon as they go through the first and second phase. Thank you. The last group was about resilience. Greg Gatins was, I don't know if there's anybody on that group. I've seen some exchanging more on information. I don't know if there has been any progress or we'll continue on that. Okay, so that one is about resilience, but you can find a lot of information already on the websites. 2 quickly updates. So we've gone through all the courses, the different groups. I will share a bit more in the next general update. I had really struggles to reach everybody in my last email. I started on Wednesday trying to communicate with everybody. Gmail was bouncing all the emails. It seems that if you send communication to more than 250 people in BCC, everything, I got 250 bounce back, 300. So I've managed to set that up through another platform I use for my newsletter, so I can get back to you now and communicate. So sorry for the delays. Second, the call with Mark Langley generated quite some enthusiasm and topic of, as it's so core to us. So I think we will be able to have similar session with Mark, with Greg, with people from not just PMI, but the project management world. I think maybe a bit longer, 90 minutes, so that we can have a bit deeper discussions. But I don't know how, but I felt very positive on that call. And we're trying to use our contacts in both project management worlds. So this is something that I want to schedule. Everything is volunteer, so nobody has any reason to come or not come, but I think there's something that we can do in that respect. Focus on the project management profession and how we see that evolving. So we'll get Mark, Greg, and some people like Rainer, and so we'll think about that, but will happen, okay? And last part of the call, I wanted to give 2 minutes to Mark, because he's going to bring his topic next Sunday. He has already quite a lot of prep material, and I asked him to prepare a small video, but just wanted to share 2 minutes of his idea that we're going to brainstorm next week. I don't know this will go through the new business model. It's something we need to talk with Juanma and the team. We'll see. But Mark, can you tell us what's your idea and how do you want the group to help you?
You have to unmute, Mark.
You had, okay. I even got a notice for that. Thank you for that. So this is not a new idea. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. My focus has been on helping kids. We typically don't treat them well. We treat them as pets. We send them to school. We tell them what to do and where to go. And they've become empowered. They've become empowered by technology. They've become empowered by the world. And even more importantly, they've become connected. And if you fast forward 20 years from now, when they grow up, they will all be more empowered and connected. So this involves everybody. And it suddenly occurred to me at one point that there's roughly 2 billion of them. And that's a nice round number. And so I started this 2 billion kids project. I'm uploading a video as we speak, which is a little 6-minute video. I'll send it to Antonio. If he likes it, he'll send it to everybody. This is the first group I'm sharing it with. And I'm looking for all kinds of input, what you like, what you don't like, what suggestions are, and particularly, how do we bring in kids? Because ultimately, this is not an adult project. This is a joint kids adult project. And one of the things that many groups like this in the world that I've observed is that they don't bring in kids at all into these things. And the kids, not all the kids, but many of the kids are very, very capable of doing pretty much what we do, or certainly helping us do it. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I will give you my vision of how 2 billion kids could be connected, but I don't know how to do it yet. And so I'm looking for everybody's help. Thank you so much. I hope you'll join us next Sunday.
Thank you, Mark. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting discussion, and you've prepared very well. I've seen the presentation. It's nice, it's touching. So I look forward to share that with the team, the video, and putting 50 brains together to see if we can make that project working, and we'll be all part of it. So we are co-creators. This is important to keep in mind.
And I'm so happy that this is such an international group. And if you know kids that you admire, that you think are really smart and frustrated in your part of the world, please bring them into this in some way. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, the session is just phase 0. So we'll discuss next steps and bringing kids, and it can lead to another working stream. So this is all freestyle. We're 100% agile in this working group.
Thank you.
There was a question from Glenn. What's the age of kids, Mark? It might be important.
1 to 20, pretty much, with some flexibility at the margins. After 20, you think of yourself as an adult, but you might still be a college kid. So I'm very broad on this. I'm talking about the people roughly in that age range. It's a broad range, but we have to treat them as a whole, because they get badly treated as a whole.
Okay, so that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining. Thursday next week, 5 p.m. Central Europe. Kumar, very interesting neuroscience. Sunday next week, 8 p.m. We'll have Mark, and we'll have to work together to find some solutions. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Enjoy the walk, Arantxa.
Thank you.
Bye.
Antonio.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to join the coalition team if you have time.